Yeah, man. So, as you can see, uh, this whole ADOS Foundational Black Americans thing, man, is kind of coming to an end, unfortunately. I think that ADOS side is a little bit more solid, but ADOS, they have a trademark on a lineage too. So, I think this is what it's really about. What it's really about is who's co-opting what, because this person over here, they're kind of getting a bag from it. But the whole foundational Black American thing, he's being dishonest when he says, "Oh, I'm not the leader of a group," but he trademarks foundational Black Americans to sell merchandise, just like ADOS is trademarking ADOS to sell merchandise. Sell merchandise. So, I'm man, I saw the Yvette Carnell thing last night, and it was pretty good, man. It was surgical. She made a lot of good points. She's like, dude, every time you get upset, you kind of jump to these conclusions. You jump all the way over here because I asked you a question. And I think what it really was that Tariq was kind of frustrated that Tone and Yvette were calling out how Tariq didn't really understand what opportunity zones were. Like, he kind of, when it comes to politics, he's not as polished as he would like to put himself out there to be. He was completely confused about opportunity zones and how that's kind of like a con game. And he was bigging up Trump. Like, yeah, I agree with Trump on this, and he had a lot of white supremacists kind of retweeting and using what he said, like, yeah, man, you finally get it, Tariq. Kind of like that Ann Coulter thing, like, oh, I yeah, this you're really on to something with this American descendant of slaves, yeah. So, um, it was kind of like that thing where he had a lot of people like bigging him up that was like white supremacists, and Yvette Carnell was like, oh hell no, Yvette Carnell and Tone, they kind of just called him out, and that's when everything went left. But this is all a come up, man. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When you say there's a leaderless group, are we really being honest? Because there's only three people, and people are going to either have some kind of they're going to have some kind of love for one of those three. I'm seeing majority of the people be like Tariq Nasheed fans. Like, I would say 60% are like Tariq Nasheed fans, and the other 40% are like Yvette and Tone fans. And they're kind of, the fans are kind of going at it with each other. Although they're saying, oh, there's no leader. There's no leader. The code is the leader. My thing is, what the fuck is the code? Because at least with ADOS, there's a mission statement. There's a website where that kind of gives you the goals and everything, what they're trying to do. ADOS.com, ADOS101.com, that's always been up. And it's always let you know that it's a little bit more than a lineage. It's a lineage that's tied to a certain set of politics to get some goals done. And I think that Tariq's being dishonest with this whole, oh, I'm not really into politics, I'm into culture. That kind of made him look bad, because if you go on his website, he's talking about, oh, we're going to have people that are political come to the damn event, and we're going to do some moving and shaking, and we're going to be talking with lawyers about this and this and that. And my thing is, dude, with all of this fundraising that you do, with all of this fundraising you do, you could have a foundational Black Americans super PAC and pretty much have people, look, we're going to fund this super PAC. We're going to create this super PAC, a political action committee. all of my celebrity friends, all of the black people that kind of been supporting me over the years, we're going to get something tangible. We're going to really get something done. We're going to get a politician that's really going to push our agenda. With all of this money that this dude raises, you telling me this dude can't start a super PAC? This dude can't get some kind of super PAC started? It's like, when you go to his website for the Indiegogo, it's we're going to talk about how to form a super PAC and what we can do. It's like, I'm tired of the talking, just to be honest. I'm tired of the talking. I mean, Tariq Nasheed has a certain reach that the average person doesn't have. He has so many followers on Facebook, so many followers on Twitter, so many followers on Instagram. Dude, this dude has reach. And that's the reason why Tariq is dangerous, because he has kind of like the pulse of a certain, I guess you would say, group of black Americans. So he has their ear. Politicians know this too. So I think that with this whole ADOS versus foundational black Americans thing, this goes to show you that people are either Tariq or people are either Yvette Carnell and TONETALKS. I've always been under the thing, like, I don't worship none of these niggas. Any one of these dudes could be conning and ripping people off. I'm not going to defend nobody like that. Screw that. You know, anybody that can disappoint you probably will. So I've always been like, hey, they all can get criticized. You know, I'm supporting it, but at the same time, with this stuff here, this goes to show you that if you don't have leadership, if you don't have organization, you're just inviting a whole bunch of chaos. Because my thing would be to the foundational black American, you know, the FBA would be, dude, what are you guys doing to politically get these tangibles, to get these things, the ball rolling? ADOS, you could say whatever, yeah, these left wing, whatever. But ADOS, they have chapters. They have people that are working locally in different cities that are trying to work to get something tangibly done, and with the politics. You know, if getting reparations, that's political work. You can't separate. You can't just be like, we're a lineage. We have no ideology. We have no nothing. Absolutely nothing. No goal, whatever. And then be like tangibles 2020. When that's a political goal, you have to actually put in the work to get that, to make that happen. That shouldn't just be a slogan. That should be something that you actually live by. And it's just not a lot of honesty. And you go to a FBA and you say, hey, dog, like, what's the code? The code is blah, 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 blah. It doesn't make any sense. This guy is saying this. Then I go to another woman. She's saying something else. It has to be linear. It has to be all across the board. Everybody on codes having the same mission, the same objective. If I ask ADOS, ADOS is going to tell me, go to ADOS101.com. This is our ideology. This is our blah, 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 blah. Where FBA, it doesn't have that. It's just more of a Tariq code, Tariq convention. And what he's trying to tell you is, I'm not the leader, but dude, the reason I'm repping Foundation of Black American is because you came up with the term. You know, he's selling shirts and sweaters and stuff like that. Yvette Carnell and TONETALKS are doing the same thing. But you got to get the big picture that this is without leadership, without organization, you have chaos. All right, there's no structure. So agents can come in, they can infiltrate, they could come with videos and say, oh, well, Yvette Carnell was talking about Tariq Nasheed's wife, like that China Fox. I seen her on Twitter. coming up with some stuff talking about, oh, well, Yvette Carnell was talking about Tariq Nasheed's wife and his son. If you watch the video, that was far from the truth. She never insulted Tariq. I don't think she did. She said something about his wash your ass videos, but she didn't disrespect his wife or his kids. She did not do that. So there's people that are trying to take this division that's happening and kind of throw gasoline on it and make it bigger fire, make a bigger issue than what it actually is. And this is what happens when you say, I'm not a leader. There's no leader. No, we don't have a mission objective. No, we're about the culture. And look, this is what it really comes down to. I'm just keeping it real. It's really about egos and who's going to get the credit at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. Just 1 week ago, Tariq was bigging up Antonio and Yvette. Oh, I'm going to invite them. Nothing but love. He was talking about them like he personally knew them. Oh, nothing but love. You could come to my event. You can speak. You can do this and you can do that, and you can promote your conference. It's all good. And I know that everything that Tariq is trying to preach in this FBA conference, this is against what they're about, because the price point of entry was $15 at their event. The price point of entry at his event is $50. And plus they was giving out free tickets. So it's kind of like a thing like, hey dog, like, they weren't going to really be down to kind of do this event no how. They weren't going to be down to kind of work with him because he already fronted on them. It's like, how do you front on me when I invite you to come to my fucking conference? And then you tell me, oh yeah, you could come to my conference, but at the same time, you didn't show me that kind of love. Like you was trying to support me or whatever. You say, oh, I wasn't trying to take the shine. Dude, it's not about shine. They didn't care if you was getting shine. Obviously, if they invited you, they didn't care if you was going to get the shine. They didn't care. They just wanted you to kind of come over there and kind of just show support. You could have came over there with your Foundation of Black Americans stuff, and they probably would be like, yeah, cool. You could sell a couple of your shirts and your merchandise. It's all good. But instead, your ego had you believe, I ain't got to work with them. Why do I need to work with them? Well, I don't need to work with them. Well, what was with the whole fake love? Like you was inviting them to your event if you didn't have to work with them. That was fake in the first place, because a week later, you're over here retweeting troll accounts by white supremacists. Some white supremacist troll account talking about like ADOS is MAGA, ADOS is trash. Dude, this is the same stuff that Talib Kweli's retweeted. It's like agent stuff, dude. He's going on the far end. We have the 1866 case that could possibly set black people back years. I'm talking about if you have an issue where you're being racially harassed at your job, you're not going to really have any kind of fucking defense. It's what kind of that case is very important. If you're trying to get a contract like set aside, if you're trying to get like certain contracts as a black person, they're going to be like, nah, dude, like it's certain business contracts that won't even exist anymore, or you won't be able to fight if you don't have, if this 1866 law doesn't get passed. I mean, if they kind of go against Byron Allen. So it has nothing to do with Byron Allen as much as it has to do with, dude, how will this affect black people on a low? I'm talking about on the lowest level, not so much Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed, he's not worried about that, because why? He gets majority of his money from black people. Judge Joe Brown, he was, he's in this little circle, this little pro-black huckster little circle where he, hey, let me latch on to what Jason Black is doing. Let me try to get inside this kind of black community, and let me just kind of see what I can do to get in this pro-black community. They're all part of that same kind of grifter slash huckster kind of like pro-black thing. We're like, yeah, and we're all in the same business. We're advertising and making money off the same people. So, I'm just like looking at this like, dude, this just goes to show you that you can't say that you don't have a leader when two people go at it, two people have differences of opinions. You jump to the extreme of, I don't have a leader, but at the same time, it's just that easy that it went from a lineage to groups, which basically you can't say, oh man, we don't have a leader, whatever, but then you're picking groups. Now you're erasing ADOS from your bio, and you're putting FBA. Now you're erasing FBA from your bio, and you're putting ADOS. You're choosing which group you want to pick. And I think there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of confusion that's being spread online, man. Nobody's really keeping it real. Nobody's keeping it real. Tariq's been off, man. He's been falling off. One guy called, his name was Championship Photography. You could go on D Tubman's channel. I think it's the third video on this Instagram live. Now, mind you, Tariq just has a weird look, like his eyes are all bloodshot red. He's just looking like he's possessed by a fucking demon. It's like he goes on live, and you could tell that he's like disturbed by this whole ADOS versus FBA thing. And one of the guys that called in or did a live stream with him was like, dude, what the fuck is going on with you, man? He's like, oh man, yeah, you're one of Yvette Carnell supporters. And he's like, how are you talking about Tangibles 2020? How are you talking about all these things when those are political things? Those are things that you have to do political action to get. And he's like, oh, you're babbling. You're babbling, man. You're emotional. And he's like, dude, I'm not babbling. You're emotional, man. And he eventually cut the guy off. But it's true. He was talking about, oh man, it's a straw man argument, blah, blah, blah. Look, another thing I noticed was Tariq saying, what did Tariq say? He was online. He was spreading that little Judge Joe Brown conspiracy stuff. And not only did he spread the Judge Joe Brown conspiracy stuff, he was retweeting the white supremacist troll accounts. And this dude got into his replies and was like, dude, your argument makes no sense. On one end, you're saying that ADOS is co-opted by the Democrats. But in that same breath, you're saying that Tone is a front for Byron Allen and Sinclair Productions, which is a conservative group. So he's like, it's like, first of all, how could they be both? Your argument's not making sense. And he got upset with the guy. He's like, you're babbling, man. You're babbling. He's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not babbling. I'm just telling you what the hell you're doing. And, he was just trying to find a way to spin it, but the guy was getting likes and retweets too. So it's like, there's just a lot of confusion being spread, unfortunately, by Tariq. He's like purposely misinforming and misleading people and telling lies without actual receipts. He's just doing hearsay. And I think Judge Joe Brown needs to be careful. I think Tariq needs to be careful because Byron Allen actually has money. He has a lot of money, and I'm saying if things go left, you don't want nobody to kind of try to take you to court for some defamation, especially if it's some stuff that you don't really have any evidence on. So it's just crazy, man. Just seeing this thing unfold. It might be over, but you know, I still consider myself ADOS. I still consider myself that, but at the same time, I'm looking at everybody suspect because it goes to show you that when egos get involved, people just switch. They flip up. They just flip out. How do you show fake love like that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you show fake love? Man, you could come to my event. You can do this. You can do that. And then the week afterwards, you're just on a complete anti-whatever tirade against it. And people are like, dude, that's fucking suspect. You went from the dating macking thing to the Pan-African thing. Then after the Pan-African thing, you kind of went to Haiti. Then after Haiti, you kind of did this Hidden Colors 5. But after you read a Dr. Claude Anderson book, which is pretty much in alignment with Yvette Carnell, minus the bootstrap striverism stuff, dude, it's pretty much the same kind of ideology. You kind of adopted, you trademark foundational Black Americans, and you go on this thing where you're preaching some kind of Black aspiration and talk and like dismissing the data, like the data doesn't matter. And him dismissing the data that that Tone Talks presents, that's dangerous. Because the data is the data. You can't, the truth is the truth. You should never get to a point where you're saying, oh, you're trying to push this Florida Evans mentality. You're trying to push this negative mentality or whatever, like poverty, a poverty mindset. That's what you're pushing. And it's like, dude, no, this is an actual situation that Black people are in. But then again, hey, you guys are going to pick whatever side that you're going to pick. But like, comment, subscribe to Diablo the Truth, man. I'm out. Peace.